Every birth changes a family, but some births change complete strangers too. What you're about to hear isn't about a perfect delivery or a picture-perfect family. It's about a long, painful night when fear filled every room, hope felt fragile, and one simple act of kindness reminded everyone that miracles are often carried by ordinary people. This is a story about strength, love, and the unexpected kindness that stayed with one family forever. Before we begin, if stories that restore your faith in humanity touch your heart, please subscribe to Kindness Waves, like this video, and leave a comment sharing a moment when someone's kindness changed your life. Your support helps us spread more stories that remind the world compassion still exists. Emma had imagined the day she would meet her baby hundreds of times. She packed her hospital bag weeks before her due date. She folded tiny baby clothes with a smile and placed them neatly in the nursery. Every night, she rested her hands on her growing belly and whispered to the little life inside her that she couldn't wait to meet them. Her husband, Daniel, was just as excited. He read parenting books, watched videos about newborn care, and practiced installing the car seat 3 different times because he wanted everything to be perfect. But life has a way of reminding us that perfection isn't what matters. Love is. Late one rainy evening, Emma felt her first contraction. At first, it was gentle, almost easy to ignore. She smiled nervously at Daniel and said, "I think today is the day." Within an hour, the contractions became stronger. Daniel grabbed their bags, helped Emma into the car, and drove carefully through the rain toward the hospital. The labor lasted much longer than either of them expected. Hour after hour, Emma breathed through the pain. She wanted a natural birth, and she stayed determined even when every muscle in her body begged her to give up. Daniel never left her side. He held her hand until his fingers were numb. He wiped away her tears and reminded her after every contraction, "You're doing amazing. You're stronger than you know." The nurses entered quietly, checking on Emma with calm smiles. They spoke gently, encouraging her through every difficult moment. They didn't rush her. They listened when she was scared. They celebrated every small step forward. One nurse named Sarah stood out from everyone else. She noticed Daniel hadn't eaten all day. Without saying a word, she brought him a sandwich and a bottle of water. "You need your strength too," she said with a warm smile. Daniel almost cried. In the middle of the hardest day of his life, someone had noticed that he was struggling too. As the hours passed, Emma became exhausted. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered. Sarah knelt beside her bed. "Yes, you can," she said softly. "Not because you have to be perfect, because your baby already knows your voice. Your baby already knows your love. You're almost there." Those simple words gave Emma the courage to keep going. Finally, after many long hours of labor, the room suddenly became very quiet. Then, a tiny cry filled the air, the most beautiful sound either parent had ever heard. Emma burst into tears. Daniel covered his face as happy tears rolled down his cheeks. Their beautiful baby girl had arrived safely. The doctor gently placed the newborn on Emma's chest. The little girl blinked slowly before wrapping her tiny fingers around her mother's hand. In that single moment, every hour of pain disappeared. Emma whispered, "Hello, sweetheart." Daniel leaned close and kissed both of them. "I love you both more than words can ever say." The room filled with smiles. But the story didn't end there. As Emma rested, Sarah patiently showed both parents how to hold their baby, how to help with feeding, how to safely swaddle her, and how to recognize signs that everything was going well. She answered every question, even the ones they felt embarrassed to ask. There was never any judgment, only kindness. The next morning, another young couple arrived at the hospital. They looked frightened. It was their first baby, too. Emma noticed the young mother crying quietly in the hallway while waiting for her room. Although she was still recovering herself, Emma smiled gently. "You've got this," she told her. "It feels impossible," the young woman admitted. Emma reached over and squeezed her hand. "Yesterday, I thought I couldn't do it either. But you are stronger than fear. And there are wonderful people here who will help you." The young mother smiled through her tears. Hours later, Daniel saw the woman's husband sitting alone in the waiting room. Remembering Sarah's kindness, Daniel bought him a coffee. I know the waiting is hard, Daniel said. The stranger smiled. Thank you. I really needed this. It wasn't a big gift. It was only coffee. But sometimes kindness arrives in exactly the form someone needs. Before leaving the hospital, Sarah stopped by Emma's room one last time. She carried a tiny handmade blanket. My grandmother made these for newborns, she explained. She always believed every baby deserves to go home wrapped in love. Emma couldn't believe it. You don't even know us. Sarah smiled. Kindness doesn't require knowing someone. Sometimes people simply need love. Those words stayed with Emma for years. Back home, life with a newborn was messy. There were sleepless nights, diaper changes at 3 in the morning, endless bottles, laundry that never seemed to end. Some days Emma felt overwhelmed. Some days Daniel did too. Whenever one of them became discouraged, they remembered the kindness they had received in the hospital. Instead of becoming frustrated with each other, they chose patience. Instead of complaining, they offered encouragement. Instead of trying to be perfect parents, they focused on becoming loving parents. Months later, Emma and Daniel started volunteering at a local family center. They donated baby clothes their daughter had outgrown. They prepared care packages for new parents. Sometimes they simply listened to mothers who felt lonely. Other times they babysat so exhausted parents could take a short nap. Every act of kindness reminded them of Sarah. Years passed. Their daughter, Lily, grew into a cheerful little girl with a heart full of compassion. One afternoon, Lily asked why they always helped strangers. Emma smiled. When you were born, many people showed us kindness when we needed it most. We promised ourselves we would never let that kindness stop with us. Lily thought quietly for a moment. The next day at school, she noticed a new student sitting alone during lunch. Without hesitation, she carried her lunch tray across the cafeteria and sat beside him. By the end of lunch, they were laughing together. Kindness had traveled from a nurse to 2 new parents, and now to a little girl who didn't even remember the day she was born. That is how kindness changes the world. It moves from one heart to another, from one family to another, from one generation to the next. You never know how far one encouraging word, one gentle smile, one helping hand, or one moment of compassion will travel. Sometimes the greatest gifts aren't expensive. They're the quiet reminders that no one has to face life's hardest moments alone. If this story touched your heart, remember this. Every single day gives us another chance to become someone's reason to believe in goodness. Whether it's helping a stranger, encouraging a tired parent, or simply listening when someone needs to be heard, your kindness matters more than you may ever know. And perhaps, years from now, someone else's story of hope will begin because of one small act of kindness that started with you.